Cost more than $5 billion, less than $1 billion, somewhere in between, perhaps? The answer, $2.4 billion, the costliest ever, until maybe next year. That first number, $5.3 billion, was the total cost of the 2008 election, House, Senate, and President. And we want to let you know that we're watching here the White House briefing room, waiting for Jay Carney, the spokesman there, to make some comments. If the discussion turns toward Iran and the alleged terror plot, we will bring that to you. We're monitoring that. We'll keep an eye on it and let you know. Back to politics now. 3 GOP candidates each had a mission in last night's Bloomberg Washington Post debate. Mitt Romney looked like a front-runner. Rick Perry tried to regain that front-runner status. Herman Cain proved his detractors wrong. So how did they do? It is all fair game. Let's talk about it with Democratic strategist Maria Cardona and Doug Heye, a Republican strategist. They're both in our D.C. bureau today. Welcome to you both. So give me your first impressions. Who looked and sounded like a nominee? Maria, you first.
Definitely Romney, and I think throughout it was the Romney and Cain show because most of the questions went to either one of them. The one who I think fell off the wayside was Governor Perry. He looked like whenever he was answering a question, which didn't seem to be as often as I think he would have liked or he should have, he always looked like he was a deer in the headlights, or like a new kid in school who walked into the wrong classroom. I think it starts to seal the perception in voters' minds that this guy is just not ready for prime time.
Doug, who do you like?
You know, I hate that this is such a rare bipartisan moment in Washington, but I agree completely with Maria. There was a chance last night for Governor Perry to demonstrate that he can drive a message that his campaign's been pushing on the web, that he can be effective in debates where he hasn't been, and instead he was at the plate and didn't connect. That's something you can't do in October. Just ask Alex Rodriguez.
Yeah. Good point. Well, let's talk about this, because Romney, you know, clearly as the front runner, he had a target on his back. A lot of people going after him, including Perry, who went at him on Romney Care, which is the health care system that he put in place in Massachusetts. Let's listen to this exchange, and then I want to ask you about it.
Sure.
Governor Romney, your chief economic advisor, Glenn Hubbard, who you know well, he said that Romney Care was Obamacare.
We have less than 1% of our kids that are uninsured. You have 1 million kids uninsured in Texas.
Maria, how do you think Romney did there, holding his own?
Well, I think that he answered the question just right enough that he didn't get any comeback from Perry, which to me is just incredible, or anybody else, which to me is incredibly baffling. If any of those candidates had done their opposition research the way that they should have, they could have keyed up the quotes from Romney as recently as 2008, talking about how he would be happy if Romney Care, if the plan that he put in place in Massachusetts were to be a model for something that the nation would take on. So they clearly were not ready to push back on Romney, and believe me, there is a lot to push back on, not just on Romney Care, but on every other issue, which Romney has been clearly on both sides on, and he just did not have that pushback from his opposition.
Doug, how do you think Romney did with all those folks going at him?
You know, what was impressive with me is exactly what you said, all those folks going at him. It's not that he dealt with one question. He faced a barrage of questions and faced them all down, and did so in such an impressive fashion that it makes sure that he is again cemented as the perceived front-runner going out of this debate and going into the next one in Las Vegas.
Another hot topic last night was Herman Cain's 999 tax plan. Listen to this.
I think it's a catchy phrase. In fact, I thought it was the price of a pizza when I first heard it.
One thing I would say is when you take the 999 plan and you turn it upside down, I think the devil's in the details.
It will replace the corporate income tax, the personal income tax, the capital gains tax, the death tax, and most importantly, the payroll tax.
He was like a salesman out there. I mean, just trying to sell that plan of his. But, Maria, do you think that the others did pretty well at poking holes in it, or no?
I don't think so, because the fact that we're talking about it now, Randy, and the fact that Michelle Bachmann and John Huntsman and several others said the words 999, to me proves that Herman Cain did exactly what he was out to do, which is push his message about it, make sure people were talking about it, make sure it gets covered in the media. Whether it's a real plan, I think still remains to be seen, because I haven't seen any analysis of any real economists saying that it would create jobs now, which is a big problem. But we're talking about it. From a messaging standpoint, I think it was a huge thing for him.
Doug, did the message get across?
Well, it got across, but he also needs to be careful that the simple message isn't then translated into what's seen as a simplistic message. Your viewers in California will remember in the primaries last year, Steve Poizner had a 10-10-10 plan that actually ended up going against him. But Herman Cain needs to demonstrate two things in addition to the 999 plan. He needs to demonstrate a plan to win and a path to win. And if he can do that, then he'll demonstrate that he's not just a flash in the pan.
Many thanks, Maria Cardona and Doug Heye. That is fair game.
Thank you.
And remember, the Western Republican presidential debate next Tuesday, October 18th, 8 o'clock Eastern. You will only find it right here on CNN. Ever hear of the IRGC? It was founded to defend its country from threats, the State Department says.